The creators of a revolutionary artificial intelligence system that can write news stories and works of fiction have taken the unusual step of not releasing their research publicly because of concerns about potential misuse. There are fears that it could be used to create fake news. Well, Elena Sinel, the founder of a company which aims to inspire young people to work in artificial intelligence development, is here to talk to us more about this. Elena, thank you very much. Just tell us a little bit more about what this technology can do and how it works.
Well, based on what I know, they haven't quite released the entire code. They have released a sample, and what it claims to do is it claims to predict text, and it uses language modeling to really translate text, to summarize news, and largely it is very flexible. It's a lot more flexible than other chatbots available out there or other systems similar to that. So it's a very, very advanced tool, and OpenAI, as far as I can see, are concerned that it could well be used for or abused or used in malicious ways. How
unusual is it then for a company not to release its research, like as this company has chosen to do?
I don't think it's very unusual. I believe they are guided by their own ethical standards. And I believe they have had a consultation which confirmed that this tool probably wasn't the right time to release it just yet. But it encourages debate, and it does encourage us to talk about the kind of regulation that could potentially we could well use with, and potentially the kind of ethical implications it might have releasing a tool like that, and what kind of abuse we may potentially be facing if a tool like this is released in light of fake news, in light of warfare information. So could it potentially be used by certain governments, dictatorial governments for instance, to marginalize certain segments of their population? Could this be used by during election times to try to sway opinions of the people? So we do know this can be done. And this is something that is a risk. So obviously OpenAI felt that it was necessary not to release it just yet.
And clearly some of these, the way these news stories or this writing is portrayed can look authentic if you don't know what you're looking for. So if OpenAI have come up with this system, surely it's only a matter of time before someone else can devise something similar and may not be as mindful of the ramifications.
Potentially. I understand it is possible to replicate it. I do not know how long it might take. It might take weeks or more. It depends on a very large, significantly large data set that they have used, that they're not releasing details about, but they've used Reddit as a tool, as an internet forum to collect that data set. So it can be done, can be replicated. The potential for a disaster, for a Pandora box opening is quite real, I believe. But we don't know whether it is easy to replicate. We haven't really been given all the details, and the sample code is temporarily released and it's quite small.
Where does or should responsibility for regulation of this kind of system lie?
It's a very good question. Firstly, obviously the governments need to understand how this technology works and the potential ramifications. Obviously, the work I'm doing is in AI for good, so we encourage young people to code responsibly and to develop responsible code. So regulation at the government level is paramount and has to be regulated. I think we're really behind with technology regulation, and we don't really have the governments that understand very well what technology can do and what it can't do, and this was quite evident when Mark Zuckerberg was interviewed at the Congress. We don't want that to happen again. But we also are seeing a lot of corporates getting away from so much that we really do want to regulate it in a way where we know where that data is used and how technology can be used or abused. But I think the most important focus for me at the moment is to really ensure that when we teach children how to code, or students, we really also teach them ethical guidelines or ethics. So everything starts with education, in my opinion. So we don't really focus enough on coding for good and responsible code at the education level, and I think it all starts there. But companies themselves need to create guidelines to regulate themselves, and the government should really be on top of that as well and understand how it is all done.
Elena Sinel from Acorn Aspirations, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.